All right. All right. Shalom, Israel. You're on live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, preaching Captain Soccer War, holding down the class from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Since 1969, ISUPK has been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And also purpose when we have these classes is to make sure that brothers and sisters get an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible to get the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High has placed inside of this Bible for us to apply to our lives today so that we can become the men and the women that He called us to be from the beginning. Having said that, every Tuesday is brotherhood class, Wednesday is biblical law, Thursday is scripture breakdown. But any class you tune into at the ISUPK, any questions that you have pertaining to the Bible, pertaining to anything you're dealing with in your life, all you got to do is type your questions in online. And if you're physically in the class, all you got to do is raise your hand. All right, with that said, tonight's class, we're going to talk about the Buffalo shooting that occurred over the weekend and what's going on inside of the mind of the oppressor that is causing this violence and this hatred against our people to rile up again. Now, for many of us, the media is portraying what occurred today to be something that's new. You know what I'm saying? The media is portraying this massacre that occurred in Buffalo as if it's a, you know, one-off thing. And every time these types of violent incidents occur against black people, they want to make it seem as though it came out of nowhere or it was random or this guy was a lone wolf. When the reality is, none of these types of attacks on our people are rare, and neither are they coming out of nowhere. You understand? For many years in this country, hell, since we've been in this country, came in here as since the oppressor came into this land, we have been under a constant assault by the oppressor on our people in many various forms. You understand? And whether it's the police brutality, whether it's the laws being passed in the courts, or whether it's devils such as the one that ran in that grocery store in Buffalo and murdering those people, there is a vitriol hatred for God's chosen people in this land. And these things that are occurring are coming to pass so that the Most High can get our attention and wake us up so that we realize that the only safe haven we have is in Him. The only safe place that we have is in obeying Him and allowing Him to protect us, because we cannot at all depend on a system that is set up to destroy us to be the one that protects us. All right. So with that, if any brothers and sisters have any questions, type them in online. If there are no questions, we're going to go ahead and get into the topic, all right? Most High Christ. Trooper Osbaga Rumya has a question pertaining to the tribe of Dan. Let me get two scriptures for you, Ash. First one is going to be Genesis chapter 48. Hold on. Yeah, Genesis 48 and verse. Hold on. Or is it 49? Hold on. Genesis 49. Let's get Genesis 49. We're going to also go to Deuteronomy 33 concerning Dan, all right? Genesis 49, Deuteronomy 33, then we're going to get Revelations 13, I believe, or Revelation 7, all right? Then there's another scripture in there that goes into what occurred with Dan. Let me just get these scriptures first, all right? Get Genesis chapter 49. We'll start at verse 1, all right? And then we'll go down to Genesis 49 and 1. Then we'll go down to 16. All right. All right. Let's get it. Genesis chapter 49, verse 1. Again, the brother's question is, can he get it? He wanted to know, could he get a breakdown of what happened to the tribe of Dan? All right. Genesis 49 and 1 says, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together that I may tell you that what shall befall you in the last days. So what is this talking about? This is Israel gathered his sons together as he was on his deathbed. And he told his sons, I'm going to tell you what is going to happen to you in the last days. So this is a prophecy that he's getting ready to lay down. All right. This is a prophecy from Israel to his sons pertaining what will befall them in the last days. Drop down to verse 16. Now, after verse 1, it goes into all the tribes. And Jacob begins to prophesy, Israel begins to prophesy to his sons what would happen to them in the last days. These last days weren't talking about the days of their lives, but the last days, meaning the last days of this time that they of the earth. All right. And understand that since Israel's birth, since Israel's days of him on his deathbed until now, we have been in the same time. You understand? We have been in the same time. Right now, we are in the last days that he prophesied about, but from his death until these days, we've been in the same days. All right. So, verse 16, it says, Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Right? Jacob prophesied that Dan would judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel, meaning what? He prophesied that Dan was going to be a part of one of the tribes of Israel. And as we go on in time and history, we find out that Dan ceased to be a tribe on their own. And I'm going to try to get the scripture for you where that occurred, but this was something that was prophesied by Israel in the days when his sons had become men and he was on his deathbed. Verse 17, it says, Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. What does it mean? Dan is going to be like a serpent in the grass, like a snake in the grass that pops up and bites the horse, that causes the horse to jump up and the rider to fall off. Meaning what? Dan was going to be someone that caused chaos and havoc, unknown. You understand? So that was a prophecy pertaining to Dan, that he was going to judge as one of the tribes of Israel. Meaning what? Dan would not be by himself. He would not be a tribe, but he would be as one of the tribes. He would be among the tribes. And Dan would be as a serpent in the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse heel, so that his rider shall fall backward. All right, now let's go to Deuteronomy, the 33rd chapter. Deuteronomy 33 is when Moses prophesied to the children of Israel and blessed them concerning the last days. Let me read it here. Deuteronomy 33 and 1 says, and this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death. All right. So this is Moses blessing the 12 tribes of Israel. Read on down. Bear with me. All right. Deuteronomy 33 and 22 says, and of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's whelp. He shall leap from Bashan. Now I know there's a breakdown of that. I can't remember what the breakdown on Dan will leap from Bashan is. I gotta get that for you, Ash. All right. But these were the two prophecies given by Israel and Moses concerning Dan. All right. Now also two verses before, not two verses, two chapters before Deuteronomy. Well, chapter before Deuteronomy in Genesis, Salaka, Genesis 49, where Israel gave a prophecy to his sons. In the previous chapter is where Israel blessed Jacob and Jacob's two sons, who were Ephraim and Manasseh. And when he blessed Ephraim and Manasseh, he blessed Ephraim and Manasseh and made them as the 12, made them as the tribes. You understand? So what happened is throughout the process of time, we came into the promised land, fought against our enemies, but of course, we sinned against the Lord. And in sinning against the Lord, we started to go into captivities. And in going into those captivities, Israel was overtaken by our enemies. All right. Specifically during the time of the Assyrian captivity. I'm gonna try to find it now. Try to find it now. Hold on. Okay. All right, bear with me. Hold on. Bear with me. All right, I'm gonna have to try to find it, Ash. There's a part when we came out of captivity, out of the Assyrian captivity, Dan and Manasseh, Dan became a part of the tribe of Manasseh. Because when we went into captivity, we had gotten we were so decimated by the oppressors that coming out of the Assyrian captivity, there was not enough of Dan for them to be counted as a tribe. So Dan became part of the tribe of Manasseh. All right. And that is why in the book of Revelations, let's go to Revelations chapter 7. You go to Revelation chapter 7, there is no tribe of Dan mentioned. All right. The reason why the tribe of Dan isn't mentioned is because the tribe of Manasseh has taken their place. So through the process of time, going into the promised land, getting our inheritance, going to captivity, and then coming out of captivity, the tribe of Dan became a part of the tribe of Manasseh. When we came out of the Assyrian captivity, there was no more Dan. There was just the tribe of Manasseh. And that is why in the book of Revelations, the 7th chapter, when it lists all the tribes, the 12,000 from each tribe, there's 12,000 from from Joseph, which is Ephraim, and there's 12,000 from Manasseh, which is Manasseh and Dan. All right. It's Revelation 7 and 6. It says, and of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000, of the tribe of Nephthalim were sealed 12,000, of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. All right. So the tribe of Dan became joined in inheritance with the tribe of Manasseh. All right. That is why on the 12 tribes today, the prophecy of the 12 tribes in the last days, there is no Dan because Dan is a part of the tribe of Manasseh. All right. I'm going to try to find the scriptures. Also, too, if you go into, matter of fact, let me see this. Hold on. Hold up. Let me see something. Yeah, I can get. I'm gonna try to find about them all for you, Ash, to get where Dan and Manasseh became one tribe coming out of captivity. All right. But let me know if that answers the question for you, Ash, concerning Dan and what happened to Dan. All right. The sister Yatazak asked, based on Proverbs 31, do you have to have a husband to be a virtuous woman? All right, let's go ahead and get that question for the sister. No sweat. The sister said, do you have to have a husband to be a virtuous woman? Get Proverbs 31 and 10. All right. Oh, verse 30, Proverbs 31, 10 through 31. Okay. To answer the sister's question without going through the whole chapter, no, you don't have to have a husband to be a virtuous woman. All right. A virtuous woman it's a gift from the Lord to be a virtuous woman. It's not something that, how can I put it? Being a virtuous woman is not something that you can, how can I put it? Like, being a virtuous woman is a product of being how you're raised and how you're brought up. Whether you're brought up in the world by, a mother and a father or family that instills in you the values of, being able to do things, accomplish stuff, have skills and have abilities. Or it's something that you learn when you come into the truth. You understand? For many women, being virtuous is something that they're taught or something that they learn throughout life, right? And so a woman can be virtuous before she ever meets a man. Really, being virtuous is why a man would choose a woman. Like, a woman being virtuous isn't something that happens on accident. It's not something that happens magically. You understand? A woman being virtuous is something that it's done on purpose, which is why the Bible is saying in Proverbs 31 and 10, who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies, meaning this type of woman is rare to find. It's rare to find a woman who is virtuous. You understand? And as you read Proverbs 31, it describes a woman who is hardworking, a woman who is smart about investing her time and smart about how she goes about making money. And then she unselfishly takes the rewards of all that hard work and she gives it to her husband, and if she doesn't have a husband, she gives it to her head, the men who are, or the man who is over her. You understand? And for every woman is a daughter. And your father, before you have a husband, your father is who you give all your gifts and all the rewards of your hard work to. So in the truth, if you're a woman in the truth who doesn't have a husband, then the rewards of the fruits of all your labors goes to the men of the Lord. It goes to the priests who have been given charge to watch over you, to counsel you, to help you grow, to give you the courage and the confidence and the counsel to go forward and be great and do amazing things and to acquire as much power as you can in this place. And in the process of that, that woman is prepared to one day receive a husband who she can lay everything at his feet, who she can honor with all of her virtue. You understand? So let me know if that answers your question. It says you don't have to have a husband to be considered a virtuous woman. All right? But being a virtuous woman should prepare you for a husband. And let me know if there's any particular verses you need me to cover on that. All right? Sister Yam Yama says she wanted a breakdown of Matthew 18 and 9. 18 and 9. Okay. No sign of Christ. Also, too, Yam Yama Salakia says, as you see, we not in the school today. I'm gonna get in contact with you concerning what we discussed over the past week, and most likely we're gonna make it happen before camp this weekend. All right, Salakia about that as well. All right. Since Yum Your Mom wanted to break down of Matthew 18 and 9, let's read Matthew chapter 18, verse 9. It says, "Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast in the everlasting fire." All right. Now, what does it mean for your hand or your foot to offend you? What is an offense and where does it come from? We covered this in class last week. What is an offense and where does it come from? This is offense spelled this way. I'm typing into the chat now. What is the definition of the word offense when it is spelled that way? All right, not offense like in a game where there's offense and defense, but an offense as in somebody offended you. What is the definition of an offense? Sister Yatazaki, you on it? Anybody else? What is an offense? I specifically want the definition of offense. Somebody type it in. Most High Christ. There you go. An offense is a break of a law or a rule, an illegal act. You understand? That is what an offense is. So in the truth and in the Bible, when it talks about someone offending you, it's talking about somebody sinning against you or breaking the law, doing something that is evil against a brother or a sister. Right? Now let's go back to the scripture. Let's go back to Matthew 18 and 9. "Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee." You understand? What is it that your hand or your foot could do that would offend you? Your hand or your foot sins. You understand? That's what it's talking about. If your hand or your foot is causing you to sin, cut your hand and your foot off. Now, what is Christ talking about when he says if your hand or your foot offends you? He's specifically speaking to about your hand or your foot to be dramatic. Not dramatic, but he's being extreme. If your hand or your foot calls you to sin, cut that hand and that foot off. Because it's better you go into the kingdom with 1 foot, 1 hand, than to die and being punished by the Lord, having both your hands and your feet. But for most people in their lives, what is it really that's causing you to sin? What's really the thing that you have to cut off? For most people, you don't have to cut off your hand or your foot to stop sinning. But there is something that you do have to cut off. Somebody answer. All right. The thing that causes most of us to sin are the things and the people who influence us to sin. You understand? Many of us coming out of the world, there were people who we had in our lives that made sinning convenient for us. You understand? How many of us growing up had someone in our lives who we looked at and said, yeah, man, they evil, they horrible. I ain't as bad as them. How many people out there, are drug addicts, smoking weed, popping pills, but they look at somebody who's a crackhead and say, yeah, man, I ain't no crackhead though. You got to cut off You got to cut off that thing that makes you feel like you're not so bad. How many of us had friends in the world? These are day ones, man. We love them. They are folks. But every time we get around them, they trying to get us to, go to the strip club, or, they on the block, they hustling. They trying to get us to get some money. That is what's keep causing you to sin. You have got to cut off the bad influences. You got to cut off the sinners in the world. You have got to cut off the people who you look at and say, well, I'm not as bad as them. You got to get them out of your life. Because getting them out of your life is going to allow you to focus on what the Lord's standard. The Lord's standard is not you being better than this other person. The Lord's standard is you being sinless. The Lord's standard is you obeying him. And if you have people around you who make it comfortable for you to be a sinner because they're more of a sinner, then guess what? You are going to be destroyed along with that person. So it would be best for you to cut them off and focus on serving the Lord than for you to die and be in hell with them, or to be in hell until you die with them. You understand? Like Christ used the hand and the foot as an extreme circumstance, but in actuality, it's the people around us. It's the habits. Like Sister Kapata, as I said, it's the things that we do that causes us to sin. If you're someone, alcohol causes you to sin, then guess what? You have got to cut yourself off from alcohol. If you're a brother and, being around women cause you to sin, being around women in the world cause you to sin, and you got to stop being around women in the world. You understand? You got to cut off the things that cause you to go against the Lord, because guess what? The Most High is not going to have any pity on you. The Most High is not going to be impartial in punishing you because of what this person did or what these people did when he gave you his laws for you to obey for yourself. You understand? Since Kapata, as I said, the reality of coming into the truth is the people in the world are going to pull you back into the world. They're not going to be neutral. They're not going to be impartial to you being in truth. Every opportunity that the world gets is going to try and drag you back into the world, because you being in the truth is an insult to people in the world. You being in the truth is a challenge to people in the world. And what people in the world, because of the evils of Christianity, you understand, and the way that the culture and the society is set up, people in the world cannot, stand to be around someone that's better than them. You being around them and you're in the truth is a constant reminder of their failings and their shortcomings and their refusal to fight to be the best that they can be. And it's why you'll find yourself arguing and fighting with people who are in the world when you ain't even say nothing to them. You didn't start talking about the Bible. I remember I came to the truth and I decided that I wasn't going to fight with my family about the scriptures no more. We're going to fight with them about the white man's holidays. I'm just going to try and be around them and just have a good time, man. Try to kick it like we did back in the day. But inevitably, somebody would bring up the Bible. Or somebody would say something slick about the scriptures, or say something about God or about Jesus. And I'm not going to be uncomfortable around those sinners. I'm not going to be uncomfortable around Christians who don't know the Bible. I refuse to sit here and let you say slick things that aren't true about God. So I'm going to get it off my chest. And it's an argument, it's a fight. And I just had to realize that if I'm not going to put the time and the energy into fighting these people to come into the truth, then I just got to not be around them. Because being around them, it's inevitable that we're going to fight and argue about this thing. You understand? And that's why Christ said, let me get the scriptures. Let me get what Christ said. Hold on. Let's get Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. This scripture is a precept, Yum Yama. This is a precept. This is Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. All right. This goes right along with cutting off that hand or that foot. All right. Again, the hand and the foot is an extreme example of what you have to sever from you in order to walk righteously. But in reality, for most people, it's that cousin. It's that it's that brother or sister. It's your mother, your father. Unfortunately, for some of us, it's those kids. Whatever it is that's causing you to sin or trying to drag you into the world or cause you to feel pity for people in the world, guess what? You have got to rid yourself from that thing. That is what the Most High requires. Because if it's not for you to get rid of that thing, then the connection you have to it is going to drive you back into the world. It's going to drive you to continue to sin. And that is not what the Most High called us for. All right, Matthew 10:34 says, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword." You understand? Christ came to cause division, cause you to have to look at the sinners in your life and say, are they really worth it? Who's more important? The Most High, this truth, or my family, or my kids, or my cousins, or my best friends, my besties? You got to choose the Lord. All right. So, Sister Yum, you might let me know if that broke it down for you. All right. Any other questions? Anybody else have any other questions? If you got questions, now's the time to bring them out. Anybody else? All right. If there's no more questions, we're gonna go into the topic of tonight's class. All right. I know this is one is a very every time one of these things happens, it can be difficult to deal with the reality of it. Man, I watched the video that murderer who ran into that grocery store in Buffalo, and it was heinous to watch. Those people having their lives violently taken from them, and it's one of those things, man. I've played video games my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I've been a video game player, and watching the camera angle that this devil had on that gun, it just it's I don't know, man. It causes a very sickening feeling in your stomach. You know what I'm saying? This devil is doing, he made a video game reality. You know what I'm saying? And it's an evil, disgusting thing. Watching him murder all those old people. But the thing that I hate about these devils is he'll go do that at a grocery store with a bunch of old people. He won't go ride into the hood. He won't go to that neighborhood where white people aren't allowed, to come through unless they, buying drugs or, doing something evil. But he'll go and shoot up the old people at the grocery store because he's a goddamn coward and a punk. You understand? But I want us to be able to understand what is in the mind of the oppressor, because these types of events, even though they're not, again, the media will make you think that these things never happen. Oh my God, it's just this one crazy guy when these things are happening all the time in our community. They're happening via the police department. They're happening via the judges and the prosecutors in the courthouses. They're happening via, you know, um, the abortion clinic. Like, we are people who have been targeted, and a war is being waged against us, and it's unceasing. But now's the time that we got to realize that these devils are getting more desperate, and we're going to analyze that by going into the mind of these devils. All right. So let me get a scripture for you. Hold on. All right. get Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. All right. Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. All right. This is Most High Christ. Revelation 12 and 12 says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child." You understand? Then this is the time that we are living in. We are living in a time where our oppressor knows that their time is running out, that their reign on the earth is going to be short-lived, that it's almost time for their kingdom to be at an end. And it's in all of their conversation, it's in all of their, their secret groups online, it's in all of the rhetoric that comes from their media. And it's important that Black people understand that this fear that our oppressor has isn't only coming from what the media calls the right. The media will make you believe that these murders of Black people, the running the shooting the Black people in the church that Dylan Roof did, this murder in Buffalo that just occurred, and the murder that occurred in New Zealand where he ran in that mosque and killed 50-something people, they would have you to believe that this is some white supremacist conspiracy fear that a small group of white people have, that they're being replaced in the earth. When the reality is that is a fear that all white people have, which is why the white man on the left, or the so-called liberals or the so-called Democrats, have the policies of murdering you and killing you and reducing your numbers through legislation in the government, through the judges in the courts. You understand? There's one group of white people that will run up in a grocery store and blow your brains out and broadcast it on Twitch. Then there's another group of white people that will pass laws for you to murder your babies, for your men to get sex change operations so they can never have kids, and for your women to be empowered to, murder their babies and to become lesbians. But both of those groups of white people are working towards the same goal, which is to destroy you, which is to keep you from multiplying, because you multiplying means it's less of them and they must die. You understand? Let me drop that. Let me get I need this. Man. Bear with me, y'all. I'm trying to keep track of all these scriptures. Try to keep track of these scriptures. Bear with me, y'all. Hold on. Bear with me. Hold up. Matthew 10 and 34. All right. Then I went to Revelations 12 and 10. 12 and 12 and 13. And now we're going to go. Here we go. Let's get Exodus chapter 10, verse 1, verse 10. All right. Again, this is the mind of the oppressor. The mind of the oppressor is that we got a short time left. They're overtaking us. They're overrunning us. Where am I getting that from? Because in this devil's the devil wrote a manifesto, and really what a manifesto is just they call them manifestos, but it's really an admission. It's like a letter. It's like a suicide note, or why did I do it? You understand? Um, all right. Okay. So here we know. Here we go. All right. In fact, let's look that word up. Let's look up the word manifesto real quick. Let's look up the word manifesto. All right. All right, hold on. All right, hold on. I'm trying to pull up the what's name. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. They're calling it the Great Replacement Theory. All right. This is what describes. This is what explains the devil feeling like his time is up. All right. Kapataza has a definition of manifesto. It says a public declaration of motives and intentions as by a political party or by an avant-garde movement. Everybody understands? A public declaration of motives and intentions as by a political party or by an avant-garde movement. So what does that mean? It is an admission of guilt. It is an explanation of why I did what I did. Everybody understands? So when the news tells you that the Buffalo shooter had a manifesto, what they're saying is he gave an explanation for why he did what he did. He had a uh, basically a guilty plea. It's him saying, "This is why I did what I did." And in that writing of him professing why he did what he did, he cited the Great Replacement Conspiracy. That's what the news is calling. All right. I'm here to tell you right now that the Great Replacement Conspiracy is not a conspiracy at all. It is what is actually taking place in America and around the earth. The white man is deathly afraid that the other nations are becoming more and mightier than him, and he is afraid that one day he is going to be overthrown. And in his mind, the biggest threat to him in his place where he lives are blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And so their recourse of action, their rebellion, so to speak, is to go and kill some niggas to keep them in their place. And that is what that killing in Buffalo was. Now, the wiser of the white men, the more uh subtile of the white man, of our oppressor, he has a different way of going about accomplishing his goals of solving the problem of the great replacement theory. And we're going to read about it here in Deuteronomy, the first chapter. This is, at Deuteronomy, Exodus, the first chapter. This is Exodus chapter 1, verse 10. All right. Salaki. All right. This is Exodus 1 and 10 says, come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. This is the great replacement theory in the Bible. This is an oppressor's response to looking around and realizing that if we don't do something, one day we're going to be replaced. If we don't do something, one day we're going to be overthrown. You understand? The Egyptians faced this problem thousands of years ago dealing with the children of Israel. And what did the Egyptians decide to do? Let's read verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. What is that talking about? They increased the oppressions, increased the hardships, increased, you understand, the suffering of the people who were living among them. Verse 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah and the name of the other Puah. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. That's your abortion. That's the murdering of unborn children in the nation of Israel. There's one devil that'll go and shoot a grocery store. Hell, he killed 10 black people. He looks at that as a victory. But then there's another devil that uses the government and uses legislation and uses the goddamn, the police brutality, the prison industrial complex, the 3 strikes law. Crack epidemic, the heroin epidemic. What do they have going on right now? What's that? The fentanyl epidemic. They're both the devil working towards the same goal, which is to keep you from overthrowing him, to keep you from multiplying, to keep you from growing. They just have 2 different ways. They have different ways of going about doing it. But in their minds is the fear that one day you're going to overtake them. Let's see something. Hold on. Hold on. All right. Bear with me. Let's get Amos chapter 1, verse 11. Amos chapter 1, verse 11. Hold on. These are good scriptures. Y'all bear with me. I'm trying to get these scriptures together that I want to put forth first. All right, bear with me, y'all. What we just read? Exodus 1 and 10. All right. Next, I want to go to I have Amos in 11. Let's put Amos in 11 in there. We're gonna go to that one next. We'll go to another one next, but I want Amos in 11 in there. Let's see what else I got. We had Zechariah 11 and 5. Zechariah 11, 4 and 5. These are not in order. I'm just getting these. I'm putting these down. These are the ones I want to go into. Y'all bear with me. All right. All right. Hold on. We got these. Hold on. We'll stay on the oppressor. Hold on. All right. All right. We could drop that. We could drop that. Let me get hold on. All right, let's get Jeremiah chapter 21. Jeremiah chapter 21. Hold on. There's so many scriptures, y'all. Salakia. Get Jeremiah 21 and 11. Get Jeremiah 21 and 11. I was trying to get Salakia. It took so long because I was trying to get some scriptures showing the mindset of these devils. You understand? And what it is that they, in their minds, what they are accomplishing with these killings and with these murderers of us. You know what I'm saying? And it's important for us to understand the mindset of our oppressor because it highlights what the Most High in the Bible said concerning the revisiting of our captivity. We are in a time where the Most High is beginning to deliver us. But that deliverance cannot come without our oppressor ramping up his oppression. If you read in the Bible, you read about the children of Israel, and when we came out of Egypt, we were not able to come out of Egypt until Pharaoh hardened his heart to the point of the Lord having no choice but to destroy Pharaoh. Like that's the time we're living in. The things that are happening in this country, you understand, with the wildfires out west and the droughts out west and, you know, the shortage on baby formula and the economy being down and the COVID-19. These are the plagues of God on Egypt happening in the earth right now. And although it may not seem to the earth that there's a Moses going to Pharaoh, the work of the ISUPK that's being done on these streets is Moses going to Pharaoh. It is God's people crying out for help, crying out to the Most High to deliver us. And the more of us that wake up and become perfect and serve the Lord, the more of us who are righteous and sending prayers before the Lord, the more the Most High is going to punish this place and bring it down. Well, in the oppressor's mind, every day they have been doing everything that they can to cause us to be destroyed. They've given us the drugs. They've put us in projects. They've stuck us with the poverty. You understand? And the welfare. They've created the laws that would cause the police to be able to, you know, brutalize us and to put us in the mass incarceration. They've passed the laws that allow us to abort our babies and to kill our children, but still here we are rising. Here we are coming together. Here we are getting money, innovating business and doing things to stay afloat. And in the poor, misguided devil's mind, I got to go and shoot them. I got to go and make a statement. I got to go and do my part to limit their numbers. Not realizing that the whole system of America that serves him is doing a better job at murdering and killing us than he ever could imagine. But in his mind, our time is running out. In the devil's mind that killed those people in Buffalo, if he didn't do something now to inspire the revolution or to spark, you understand, the agents of the great replacement theory, then if nobody does nothing, these niggas will overtake us. These spics will steal all of our jobs. The white man will no longer be great in the earth because these other people are going to take us over. And that is the Most High putting that thought into their head. That is the Most High causing them in a last-ditch effort to do whatever they can to sustain their kingdom. And we have to know that the more desperate that they get, the more we're going to have to cling to the Most High. And understand this, clinging to the Most High is not the Christian clinging to the Most High. Clinging to the Most High is not, oh God, Father, please protect us. No, clinging to the Most High is going and getting a sword. You understand? It's girding up your loins. It's preparing for the battle. It's what we did the night of the Passover, where all the men of war were dressed in their warlike apparel, ready for a battle. But we followed the instructions of Moses and put the blood on our doorposts and prayed to the Lord while we ate that Passover. And in doing that, our enemy was destroyed. But it came at a time when everybody was deathly afraid that these Egyptians are going to kill all of us. Well, that's the time that we're living in now. It's good that black people be afraid of these devils. It's good that black people see a devil with some fatigues on and clutch at their gun. And this division that's going on in this country is the Most High that is trying to protect us from the mentality of these devils. All right. All right. What I just called for. Was it 53 and 13? That's a good one too. All right. Let me get Jeremiah chapter 21, verse 11. Jeremiah chapter 21, verse 11. The Most High prophesied these things in these times that we're living in. And these are the times that the Most High requires that we will turn back to Him. Because if we don't turn back to Him, then we will suffer the consequences that come with being a disobedient and unruly children. All right? Jeremiah chapter 21, verse 11. It says, and touching the house of the king of Judah, say, hear ye the word of the Most High. O house of David, thus saith the Most High, execute judgment in the morning, and deliver him that is spoiled out of the hand of the oppressor, lest my fury go out like fire and burn, that none can quench it because of your evil doings. You understand? That is the Most High pleading with those of our nation who are in positions of power and authority to bring his people back to him, to take their wealth and take their understanding and to warn their people of what the oppressor is doing. But that is not what we hear coming from leadership in the black community. I watched the press conference from the families of those people that were murdered, and you see the pain and the frustration and the sadness and on their faces and hear it in their voices. But because of the evils of Christianity and the evils of the leadership of our community, they are made to feel as if it's wrong for them to stand against the oppressor and to call the devil who he is to his face. And that confusion, that confusion of what to do with those emotions and with that anger and that sadness lies at the feet of the Christian church. And the Lord said, because they refuse to deliver us from the hands of the oppressor, his fury is going to continue to be poured out on them for their evil doings. Let's get Zechariah chapter 11, verse 4. Matter of fact, this is a scripture that I was looking for. The one that I spent all that time thinking about was Ezekiel 35 and 5. All right. Right. Man, Ezekiel 35 was what I was looking for the whole time, y'all. But we're gonna go till we say that for last. Because that's also what was in the mind of the oppressor. Get Zechariah 11 and 4. All right. Zechariah chapter 11, verse 4 says, thus saith the Most High, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Most High, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. You understand? The possessors of our people slay us. You understand? These possessors isn't talking about the young, radicalized devil that goes and shoots some people in a grocery store. It's talking about the judges, you understand, and the politicians and the lawmakers, all the pharmaceutical companies. We outraged at this shooting, but there's far more murder and destruction being done to us on a mass scale. And the oppressors who are doing it, they believe in the replacement theory. It's not just what's on the minds of young radicalized devils on the right. That's what the liberals believe as well. That's what all the pro-abortion advocates believe as well. If we don't stop these niggas from multiplying, they are going to overthrow us. They both are part of the same bird that is swooping down to destroy us due to our lack of knowledge of who we are and what we're supposed to be doing to be protected. And guess what? When these things occur, the possessors, they hold themselves not guilty. That devil that shot those people in Buffalo, he went in court and pleaded not guilty. But you know who else pleads not guilty? Planned Parenthood. The judges and the politicians that pass the laws that cause us to be destroyed, cause us to suffer with drug addiction. You understand? Alcoholism that cause us to go into the church and suffer molestation and rape. They pass laws for children to get hormone injections and all manner of nonsense. They hold themselves not guilty. All the while, all of the black politicians and the black lawyers and the black prominent people that have joined these oppressors, they get rich promoting Planned Parenthood. They get rich promoting the transgender agenda. They get rich promoting a culture of, drug addiction and drug selling and gun violence. And it's the reason why we're destroyed. Again, Amos chapter 1, verse 11. Amos chapter 1, verse 11. Amos 1 and 11 says, "Thus saith the Most High, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will turn away the punishment thereof." The Most High is going to have vengeance on our oppressor. He is going to make sure that they pay for the evil that is being done to our people. Because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. These are the reasons why the Lord is going to destroy our oppressor. Again, this type of violence that we've seen in Buffalo this past weekend has never stopped against our people in this land. And if all you're seeing is the murderer who kills 10 black people in the grocery store, and you don't see the murderer that kills 350,000 babies a year in the abortion clinic, that sees, 10,000 of us dying a year from gun violence, that sees over 2 million of us in prison, and countless others being molested and manipulated spiritually and mentally with this homosexual and this transgender agenda, then you're not seeing the big picture. You're not seeing what the Lord is saying. And it's sad what happened in Buffalo. It's a shame and it's a travesty. But of those people who were murdered, how many were sinners? How many partook in the evil of loving the oppressor and supporting the oppressor's way of life? The Most High said he is not going to forget. He is going to deal with these nations accordingly. Keep reading Amos 11. No, that's it. That's it on that. And on Amos 1. Let's get Isaiah chapter 51, verse 13. Isaiah 51 and 13. So Isaiah 51 and 13. And these devils, man, again, watching that video of the murders, that devil went through that store murdering those people relentlessly, then had the nerve when he came across the devil, crouched down in the floor, said sorry. Which means what? These devils have brotherhood for one another. They know how to love one another. But what they know how to do more than loving one another is they know how to hate you. Our oppressor knows nothing more, nothing better than hating you. He can do other things, but what he does the greatest is hate you. And this is something that we must now realize as a people, because those who were responsible for warning us before never did their job. And the Lord is requiring that the men who serve him do that job, which is why the ISUPK since 1969 has been telling our people the truth according to the Bible, who the oppressor is. He's the devil. It's Isaiah 51:13. It says, and forgettest the Most High thy Maker, that has stretched forth the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth, and has feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor? The captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his bread should fail. But I am the Most High thy power, that divided the sea, whose waves roared. The Most High of hosts is his name. And I have put my words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee in the shadow of mine hand, that I may plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Most High the cup of his fury, and thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling, and wrung them out. There is none to guide her among all the sons whom she hath brought forth, neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she hath brought up. This is talking about the children of Israel being lost. The children of Israel not having any direction, not having any guidance. You understand? And the suffering that has occurred as a result of it. The Most High that brought us up has acknowledged that these things are occurring because we don't have leaders. We don't have righteous men to guide us. Verse 19, these two things are come unto thee. Who shall be sorry for thee? Desolation and destruction, and the famine, and the sword. By whom shall I comfort thee? Thy sons have fainted, they lie at the head of all the streets. As a wild bull in a net, they are full of the fury of the Most High, the rebuke of thy power. Therefore hear now this, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. Thus saith thy power, the Most High. So like it, thus saith thy Adawan, Yahweh, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again. But I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over. The word of the Most High that's coming down to us is now is the time to turn back to him. Now the time of our suffering is close to being at an end, but we have got to turn to him and serve him. We have got to turn to him and live righteously, because that is the only way that we are going to be guided out of the suffering that we have seen befalling us. You understand? And as we turn back to the Most High, here's what the Most High has prophesied is going to befall our oppressor. It's Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 1. Well, Ezekiel chapter 35, starting at verse 5. Starting at verse 3. It says, and say unto it, thus saith the Most High power, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, and thou shalt, Salakia, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am the Most High, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Most High Power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. See if thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. That's what's coming to our oppressor. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate. The land of our oppressor is going to be most desolate. And cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that goeth in. So like him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with the slain men in thy hills and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am the Most High. Because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas the Most High was there. That's the oppressor talking about possessing so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Possessing the people of God, the children of God. Because they've said these things about possessing the children of God, let's read. Verse 11, therefore as I liveth, saith the Most High Power, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. And thou shalt know that I am the Most High, and that I have heard all the blasphemies which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying, they are laid desolate, they are given to us to consume. Thus with your mouth ye have boasted against me, and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them. Thus saith the Most High Power, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate. As thou did rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was so desolate, so will I do unto thee, that thou shalt be desolate. O Mount Seir and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Most High. So this is the promise that has come down from the Most High, that he will destroy this oppressor, that he will repay them for all the blood that has been shed. But what he requires from us is the same thing he required from the children of Israel in the days of the Exodus, which is that we will stand with him, that we will follow the leaders and the prophets that he has set up, so that when he calls, we are prepared to do what is necessary for us to avoid the destruction that is before us. Now is the time for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians to wake up, to see what it is that the oppressor has in his mind and in his heart, and turn to the Most High, because he is the only one that can protect us in these days. With that, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the greatest people that ever walked the face of the earth. We descend from the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2022, there's nothing more important than for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians to learn the truth according to this Bible, so that we can become the people that the Most High called us to be. With that, shalom, Israel. See y'all tomorrow for class.